Welcome to the Cincy Postcast presented by LASIK.com, where better vision equals better calls. I'm Kevin Wallace, and before we get started with today's episode, I want to tell you about our friends over at Streetside Brewery. That's right, the location of the live show this Saturday. We're kicking things off around 5:30 p.m. Hell is Real is at 7 p.m. Come on out. We'll have a good time. It'll be a ton of fun. There will be some giveaways. We will play a game or two, probably. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come on out to Streetside. If you have not been to Streetside, you are missing out. It is a great environment, great beer, good food. They have it set up really, really nicely there. Super happy to have them back this year and happy to be going back for another live show. Folks love them. People are always asking for them, and this is another great one. So come on out, check it out. Again, that is 5:30 p.m. on Saturday. The game kicks off at 7 p.m. So come on out. We'll hang out. We'll get you hyped for the game, and then we'll all watch the game together. It'll be a great time, a nice communal event for FC fans. So come on out to Streetside Brewery. We would love to see you this Saturday. And on today's episode, oh, baby, let me tell you, so excited to talk about this game. A complete performance put in against Austin. FC Cincinnati wins 2-1. Classic MLS clean sheet. Dado Valenzuela. Oh, my goodness. You know we're going to talk about him. Evander putting on a show as well. How concerned are we about Matt Miazga? What is the deal with referees and Kevin Dinke? We get into all of it. Orellano at wingback again. Woo! Part 2. Kei Kamara, FC Cincinnati legend, returns. The king comes home. Could not be more excited. And then in part 3, it is Toronto at the midweek. How are we feeling? We hyped? We excited? We give you the preview. We give you predictions. All that and more on this postcast. Joining me to talk about all of that and more, I am joined by two gentlemen who are here for their I Told You So victory parade. Joined by the Chief, joined by Grayson. Grayson, have you ever been more right in your life? Yes or no?
It's hard to say. I've been pretty right. A lot of times. So I'm not ready to crown this one just yet.
Okay.
Oh, I'm victory lap central. I'm wrong a solid 99, 98% of the time. So anytime I get a chance to say CKB, Chief Knows Ball, I'm going to go ahead and take that. I'm going to take that loudly. I'm going to take that often.
When the lineup was announced, I was like, oh, that's interesting. That is exactly what we were asking for. Let's see how bad it is in reality. And it was pretty good.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that like you get what you're asking for. And there's that moment of, hell yeah, this is what I've been asking for and clamoring for. And then the realization that, man, I'm going to look like an idiot if this doesn't work out. Which, to be fair, I frequently find myself in this position of, man, I look like an idiot because this didn't work out.
This is every NFL fan base finally getting their pretty good but not great quarterback benched for the unproven, very young backup quarterback.
Right. No, and it's year after year after year. It's, yeah, no, if we only gave that guy a chance, if only, you know, I understand that he had a high draft status, but damn it, Patrick Ramsey, we can fix him. That was Steve Spurrier's fault.
AJ McCarron still has it in him. Okay, he's a winner.
It's the siren call of the McCown brothers, like Josh McCown, Luke McCown. It's,
yes,
I can fix him.
The fundamentals are great.
Yeah.
But No, we thankfully do not have to go back and apologize to the 12 listeners, the fan base, the coaching staff, and say that we got it all wrong.
Yeah, start off. Let's go. Let's just
Let's
get
go
right
back.
into it. Let's go right into it. Kevin, give the line out for the people who were living under a rock and didn't consume the game and all the post game content afterwards.
Yes. So the lineup comes out. It is Roman Celentano in goal. Lucas Engel is your left wing back. Miles Robinson is the left center back. Matt Miazga in the center of that back three. Nick Hagland on the right side with Luca Orellano on the right side. Lucas Engel, Luca Orellano. It's very confusing in the wingback world.
We're gonna experience this, I think, for
Orellano,
this episode.
Yes, Orellano as the right wing back. Yuya Kubo alongside Buka as our not quite as defensive midfielders. Evander just ahead of them with Denke and Santos up top. Grayson, you said it on the last episode explicitly. I think we were all sort of calling for it, but you called it out explicitly. You said, I don't want to see a Nunga. I don't want to see Obi. We don't need it. Have Buka back there. And you said, put someone like Corey Baird or Yuya Kubo there. How excited were you to see the lineup?
I was pretty excited. I mean, it's exactly what we wanted. There's like a little bit of an out, I guess, because I think Obi's still hurt.
Yeah. So
you could still say like, well, I'm not changing things up. This is just injury rotation.
Right.
Right.
You have that out.
Noonan still has that out there.
And he said in his post game comments, this is all part of the fact that we're returning now to the multi-match week setup with a Wednesday match in Toronto and then hell is real in Columbus. So 2 road games, 2 road trips in the span of 3 or 4 days. So that out is still very much in play.
Is that the official story behind Yedlin? Because I wasn't sure if there was, picked up a knock late in training Friday or something that they were going to try to.
Not that I heard, not that I saw, not that I'm aware of. I think it was just it was the most obvious change that you could make. And like, we said in the last episode, it's hard to ignore that they've gone to Luka shifting out wide in multiple matches this year. And when they made that late game change, it made the rest of the team look better. And as far as, Anunga is concerned in the midfield, it was known when they signed him that he is not a progressive passer, that he's not going to do much to help the offense. And given everything else that's going on with this team, and especially with playing 3 center backs, it became too difficult to ignore that black hole in the production, in the offensive production. The rubber is going to meet the road, I think, a little bit when Obi gets healthy, and there's going to be potentially some decisions to be made when that happens, depending on how things look until he returns and how he looks going forward. There's going to be questions about whether or not this is a permanent shift for Lucas Orellano. And if it is, what does that mean for DeAndre Yedlin? Now, again, there's going to be some outs, I think, depending on the status of Matt Miazga, which we'll talk about here in a second.
Yeah.
But I think that the first thing I thought when I saw this lineup was, hell yeah. The second thing I thought was, man, we as a podcast have a lot riding on this going right. And the third thing was that if this works, there are going to be some very, very interesting questions for Pat Noonan to confront. And for the first time in a while, interesting in a good way, interesting in a positive way.
Yeah.
So the fact that it worked, I'm all about talking about those questions now. And I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah, that was everything we wanted, and it played out that way. Like almost immediately, the passing was great. The movement off the ball was everything you wanted. It never felt sluggish when the team needed to move, like from the beginning. It's not like they had to grow into it. It's not like they had to almost give up a couple of chances or go down a goal before the game state changed and suddenly they were more free flowing. It worked right away. And you saw moments even before the first goal where it was a ball well worked into the box that Orellano was able to dribble into the box. And like we said, the defense collapsed and he passes it out to the top of the box and gets Denke a nice shot. Like that was everything you wanted.
So I went back and I watched the match again today while I was at the gym.
Oh, lucky.
I know, right? What sticks out to you when you watch how this game transpires versus, we'll say, previous FC Cincinnati efforts, specifically last week at NYCFC? And there's a ton of caveats to a lot of what we're going to talk about. It's
sure.
Game state matters, playing at home matters, playing Austin matters. They're a team that we talked about is a little offensively challenged, to say the least. But what you notice with this formation right away is how much better spaced the midfield looks and how naturally the team gets into that shape where you've got your three center backs that all pinch very wide, that spread out wide, where you've almost got Haglund and Miles almost to the sidelines for how wide they're playing to open up space in the middle of the field. And then the two midfielders directly in front of them, each with their own sort of half of the field responsibilities. They're both playing, I know 7 isn't the right term here, but it's halfway between 6 and 8. And that's kind of what, Buka and Yuya were playing here. And what it allowed was that they both went forward. And when the center backs would pass and they would try to play through the wing backs, instead of multiple passing options being behind the wing backs, there was always a progressive pass to make to either Buka or Yuya that moved the ball forward and could be either a conduit to Yedlin or not a Yedlin, to Evander, or could be a conduit to play some sort of a give and go game with one of the strikers. So instead of seeing that collapse defense that teams were doing where they would pin FC Cincinnati to the sidelines and force them backwards, there were multiple passing opportunities that were allowed specifically because Yuya and Pavel were getting further forward in this formation. And it worked out exactly the way we've been talking about, of just you had to have more people up front that could be links between Evander and other people, or could be links that move the ball forward into dangerous positions for the attacking pieces.
Yeah, it was everything that we thought might happen, that suddenly you had two guys in the middle of the field alongside, if not slightly behind or ahead at times, of Evander, who were able to play the ball, that knew how to pass quickly out of pressure, that could dribble out of pressure if need be, had that offensive spark in and of themselves, and then to be able to play with the wing backs and allow the ball to progress up the sides that way. You saw Evander dropping back plenty to get the ball, and it wasn't a hindrance because then Kubo or Buka could then fill that space. They weren't timid to fill it, and they were capably filling it. It was beautiful. It was really nice.
Yeah, I thought maybe for the first time this season, they looked like a team where you could actually envision when this team gels, they'll be really good.
Yeah.
Right? Because there were still, instances where it's like, okay, we can see where guys are not on the same page here and there, but they looked overall like very competent passers of the ball. And we haven't been able to say that much this season.
And there was a plan. It was possession with a purpose. It was not passing along the back line. It was not hopeful long balls that would get beat and then everybody was on the back foot. It was really good.
Right.
And with Orellano and Angle, we saw multiple times where they were basically switching the field to each other, and they were more than capable of handling the switches in play, which throws the defense into chaos. So it was awesome.
Soccer's at its heart is a numbers game, and if you want to start, like, I got a question in an AMA I did that was, we were bored one night. FC Cincinnati wasn't playing on a Saturday. I'm at the bar. Hey, AMA on Twitter. And somebody asked me, like, so, okay, I'm a new fan of the FC and I'm getting into watching soccer. What's like the thing to do if I really want to learn more about this? And number one is not listen to me. Like, do not listen to me about anything. But if you're going to listen to me about something, it's this. If you want to get better at watching the sport, watch where the ball isn't and watch how people behave when the ball isn't at their feet. Because if players are playing well, they're creating space and they are taking advantage of numbers in situations. Like, a lot of people here, not a lot of people there, get the ball there, create numerical imbalances in places. Part of the problem that FC Cincinnati has had is that on those switches of play, like you're talking about, and there were several of them, switches of play back across the field, either Luka going back to Angle or Angle going across the field to Luka. Luka is getting far enough advanced to make those switches fruitful to where you're getting him in a situation. Once he gets them, he has the ability 1v1 on the dribble to do damage if he's in a numbers mismatch situation. And with Luka, 1v1 is a numbers mismatch situation. It takes more than one person to defend him in those situations. He just offers that DeAndre doesn't, because DeAndre is a more defensive focused wingback. He wants to stay back. He will venture forward cautiously, but he's not going to make that run along the back of a play that makes himself available for a switch of play. And so as a result, when DeAndre's on the field, FC Cincinnati is really easy to defend because you can just sort of pretend he's not going to do that because he doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Similarly, with you're saying about the build-up play going through, and this happens on the first goal that gets scored. The first goal FC Cincinnati scores in this game comes because Yuya Kubo takes a pass from the center back's play forward. Yuya Kubo ends up with a pass, and he goes forward. And that's that dribble and that change of like field position is something Brian Anunga is not going to do. It's something Obi rarely does. Like we look at that and we're like, oh, Obi's on one when he is willing to take the ball that deep into the defensive, the final third. And at the end, Yuya offloads to Lucas Angle. Angle makes the cross back to Evander, plays it back to Evander at the top of the box. It's exploiting the fact that players are looking at Kei and looking at the striker.
Yep.
And it allows Evander to basically what amounts to a free kick.
Yeah.
There is no one within 5 to 10 yards of him. He's able to tee the ball up from a spot that he makes free kicks from and basically take a free kick with no wall. And if you can get that repeatably, Evander's going to score the majority of those chances where he is at the top of the 18 and has free space to settle the ball and take a touch.
Yeah. There's two defenders basically on Kei, another one on Santos. There's another one covering the sort of backside, but if Evander wants, he can square it to Orellano, who also has the opportunity to take either a left-footed shot, which probably wouldn't be ideal, but can take on the one defender and change up the attack there. So like suddenly there's options. Suddenly there's guys making runs, and Evander scores this from just outside the box technically, which is awesome. I love that he keeps doing this. Hits it on the bounce. It's perfect. Brad Stuver has been a very good goalkeeper in this league for a little bit now, and he showed some great saves on the night. Don't get me wrong, but makes him look silly here. This is such a good goal.
But he's hung out to dry by his defense right there. And like that spot right there, that is a goal scoring, that is a goal dangerous spot for Evander to have the ball right there. And it's all set up because you've put an extra midfielder on the field that has attacking prowess in Yuya Kubo. And that is an extra person that the defense now has to account for. It's an extra run that can be made. And you're not focused on, and you're not forcing Lucas Engel to make that pass all by himself. You're setting him up with someone else that the defense has to account for and has to defend.
Yeah, it's Kubo running forward, which lets Buka short hang back and guard the back door, but also Kubo is then able to run with him and play the 1-2, which then allows Evander, who probably would have had to play that role with Engel before, allows Evander to go find space and receive the ball. So yeah, in a world where that is, say, Obi doing that, it's Obi having to go forward, and maybe he's not traveling as far. Maybe the passing isn't as crisp, or he's hanging back alongside Buka. Maybe Buka moves up towards the right side, and it's Evander playing with Engel, which is fine. But then Engel just has to put in a sort of desperate cross and hope that Santos or Denke can make something of it. And it's at best a 50-50 ball there, right? So doing it this way just provided so many more options. And yeah, Austin had their opportunities in this game. And you're correct, Chief. They have not scored a lot of goals. They have spent a lot of money on attackers this season. So it's not like they're running college draft picks out there. And it pans out. It works out really well there.
So I had a thought while watching this a little bit. And it's a thought that, so Evander scores this goal, great goal. And for the first, basically until Miazga gets hurt, where a little bit of like air lets out of the building, it is and he gets hurt around like the 38th, 39th minute, something like that?
40th.
He comes out in the 45th minute, but yeah, I think he injures himself somewhere in there, the 38th, 39th minute.
Yeah, so it's close to the end of the first half. But until that injury happens where he sits down, it is the best FC Cincinnati has looked outside of the Champions League game against Motagua, which D4 opponent right there. But this is the best the team has looked. And it wasn't just this chance that was created. Evander takes one of the silliest shots I have ever seen in my life and almost scores it probably would have been a Puskas nominee from how that goes. He takes that. You get Luca Orellano on the wing, beats a guy, cuts the ball inside, curls a ball that just barely, and I mean barely, misses going in top bins in the upper left-hand corner of the net. Just incredible shot making from FC Cincinnati. Given all of these players we have that like to shoot from distance, are we the Golden State Warriors of soccer?
I had the same thought, Chief. Like, it's so fruitful. Like with this team, Denke takes a rip from outside the box in this one, and it's not bad. No. It's really not bad. He had space to dribble, but I totally understood the shot at the moment. He had tons of space. Yeah, I think we are, for sure, to answer the question. But then I also think that is a good thing. I think this is a good idea. I like that we're doing it because it forces the keepers to be on edge for more things. They can't, they not that they're getting comfortable, when the team is attacking them, but suddenly the opportunity for a shot to come in is so much wider. And it's a confusing environment and a confusing game. You never know what's going to happen. The ball can bounce off of things. Guys may only be able to parry things away. You have balls slip through hands. They take weird bounces. They skim off of the top of somebody's foot. Absolutely. It works, and it's been effective. I have no issue with it.
You have to be dangerous at it, though. Like
yes.
And, Evander is dangerous at it.
Yes.
Right. Like we've seen it. Luca was, a very dangerous shooter last year. He's been, he's gotten some close this year. He's probably still in the range of players who have the green light to take that shot. Although I do wonder if he's trying to force a force a goal at this point
Yeah.
and maybe looking to shoot first versus considering all those various options. I thought, I didn't really think of Kei as a guy who was going to be taking shots from distance, but if that's in his game, great.
He's got a rocket, man. Like it's a hard hit shot.
Yeah, he has a rocket. But what's also fun too is that it's kind of like, once you have teams that they have to step out and defend this, then you saw in this game that Evander hit Austin with a little bit of an okey doke and slipped the ball behind the defense to Kei, who was 1v1 with the keeper and hit a laser blast, but just went right at Stuver. Yep. Where, all of a sudden that's set up by the fact that you can't give Evander even an inch of space out at the top of the 18-yard box. And again, if someone has to step out or multiple people have to step out to defend, it's going to offer opportunities to do other things for Evander and find people in dangerous positions, which leads to the second goal. And that's how the second goal is created in large part, is that Evander and Kei occupy so much mind space of the defense that it allows them to do things and try different things to get people opportunities at goal. But he got Kei a perfect shot. You think that probably if you replay that 10 times, Kei scores that 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
Good ratio that you're going to have on that. But again, it's getting the ball in dangerous spots, and who can you put on the field that will facilitate the ball getting into dangerous spots. And I think that Orellano being out on the wing, where he had the freedom to run, he had the freedom to get advanced, and he was coming in from the outside. So meaning that he wasn't clogging those spaces and those lanes in the middle that, Evander needed to be successful. And that, who else I thought had a very quietly good game with Sergio Santos, making a lot of good movement, even coming and being willing to come back and get the ball and pass into the pass through the midfield. It was everything firing on all cylinders for the first 40 to 45 minutes of this game. And in that span, I think that they could have easily come away with an additional 2-3 goals based on the things that they were doing and the dangerous spots and the dangerous looks they were getting.
That's the exciting thing, is that before, maybe up until this point, or certainly the first handful of games, the first dozen games or so through the season, nothing has looked terribly repeatable. It was a lot of, they got really lucky with that. There was a penalty. Wow, Evander is able to bury a free kick. And I guess winning fouls at the top of the box is repeatable. Sure, I guess. But it's not really what you want to build the identity off of. And this game, I leave feeling like, there was a lot of repeatable actions here. A game plan that if plan A is shut down, plan B will probably work. And if plan B is shut down, plan C will probably work. It didn't even feel like we had a plan A up until this point. That it was just sort of a hope and a prayer that the really talented guys would figure it out. And again, it's a Western Conference opponent coming east side, and Austin's a okay, not great team for sure. But we also have seen this team struggle against really bad teams and also beat really good teams. I don't know how much you can discount that as well. So it works both ways. Now, there is one moment that I was very upset with in the first half. I'm not even talking about the Miazga injury, which we'll go to. But for me, it's in the 35th minute. It is when Kevin Kei is once again awarded an absolute bullshit yellow card in this game for being, as far as I can tell, more athletic and more physically dominant than other players in this league, and certainly other players he is playing against. It's another case of the referees are choosing to officiate him differently. I don't know how you can look at how he is being officiated and not come to that conclusion. This was a case where two guys are tussling for the ball. One falls down and gets tripped up under the feet of another player. Nothing is vicious in it. Nobody is screaming and crying for a foul or for a card. And yet he gets a yellow card. It's just another case of this. And what makes this even more frustrating is this is now his fourth yellow card of the season, which means you get one more yellow card and you're suspended for the next match. And Chief, I don't know if you've looked at the schedule recently, but
Oh, I'm aware.
there is one game on Wednesday. Should he pick up a yellow card for celebrating in the wrong way or going in for a 50-50 ball with a little too much, quad muscle, and he's out for hell is real.
He's definitely being officiated differently. It's annoying. I have some thoughts as to why that is. That aren't pleasant, but the evidence is getting harder to ignore in this space, is the way that certain players on this team have been officiated, especially during their first season with FC Cincinnati, that have some similar backgrounds.
And, Obi was officiated horribly.
Yeah,
his first few months to a year in MLS. Like, he was a guy who was getting fouls called on him when he won the ball cleanly, who got at least one yellow card where he didn't get within 2 feet of the player, who just totally tripped over his own 2 feet. I think that there were some assumptions made about things, and I think that I don't know. Do you think pro referees take like implicit bias training?
I don't think that they're man or woman enough to admit they could ever possibly be wrong for any reason.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Like I'm above this. It's kind of like, like the Kolinar, where you purge yourself of all emotion and like dedicate yourself to logic and reason. Like, that's them. When you take the mantle of official, you swear an oath to chastity, poverty, and obedience, and also the infallibility of all members of my refereeing fraternity.
This is where I will also call people's attention to a really good interview that Soccer Wise did before the season with a couple of referees, where an admission was made that they intentionally referee players from different countries and different backgrounds differently. It's just a thing that was freely admitted on that podcast from a pro referee.
Well, I mean, we've been seeing them referee Red Bulls differently for years now, so that's not a surprise they would do it based on other criteria.
Yeah. So very frustrating. Once again, the referee needing to assert their dominance or somehow make a point in this game early for physical play. I guess it wasn't. Oh, geez. But now a star player in this league is potentially, like, I'm trying to think about this too from the most cynical point of view. You have Hell is Real is at 7:00 on Saturday. It's one of the few big cable sponsor games that you get on there. You've got a marquee rivalry, and you've got a absolute star of the league who is on fire. How do you not tell the referees, hey, you go easy on this guy for the next 2 games because we need him on Fox, because we need an exciting game on the cable property?
Well, not even go easy necessarily.
Right.
Just make sure you don't give him a yellow card unless it's warranted.
Which you'd assume is always the case, but a point of emphasis, as they like to say.
Or, if you want to be really cynical about it, they have VAR checking all these things. There should be a little hotline buzzer when you call a foul on a player like that, and like you don't get to make that decision yourself. Someone's going to watch this, and if they agree with you, you can give the yellow card out. You can stall for time while while they look at the play in New York to tell you whether or not it's a yellow card worthy. But this league is so desperate for ratings and eyeballs, they're putting this game on Fox Sports. And you're going to have the centerpiece of FC Cincinnati's offseason, the second highest paid transfer into the league. You're not going to have him playing? Come on.
And again, like, imagine the scenario where, let's say he does get suspended, picks up another yellow card on Wednesday, and he's suspended for Hellas Real. The Fox broadcasters don't have to necessarily play by the same rules as the Apple broadcasters. And I would love to see the Fox broadcasters say, well, you could have had Kevin Denke tonight, but unfortunately, pro referees felt like he didn't honor a dead teammate the proper way and picked up a yellow card, and therefore that accumulated to his suspension tonight. He didn't honor it properly because the shirt reached the top of his head for half a microsecond.
Well, they even admitted in their statement that it wasn't a non-discretionary yellow card.
Yeah, they chose to do it.
They wrote it in a way that essentially admitted that the ref used his discretion to give the yellow card, that it was cardable, not a non-discretionary card. And, I think he should have gotten a mulligan for the bicycle kick. Like he should get to have a freebie. Like,
yeah.
No one's going to be mad about that. If you just say like, you get one shirt off, like they're not going to call the principal or call the police or something if you don't do it one time. And, they make mistakes all the time, and they do that thing where it's like even in games, you see it where if they call a foul, that's not really a foul. They might then let the player get away with one.
Yes.
Within reason a little later.
Yeah, sort of mental possession arrow. Yes.
Yeah. I do have a thought about this. MLS should gamify this to a certain extent. They love having lists and GAM and TAM. You should be able to use GAM to buy one of your players out of a card suspension.
Oh my God.
Or conversely, if you just want to make it about making sure that marquee matchups are preserved, you should, if you get a card accumulation suspension, you should just have to serve it in one of the next 3 games. And you can tactically pick which of the 3 games he has to miss, but at some point he has to serve his card suspension. And so if you got a huge game coming up, so you're never put in a position of, the Wednesday before this huge matchup, he picks up his 5th yellow card. Yeah, it sucks, but like he's going to be on the field for the big game, the one that's on national TV. Like, I don't know. This league's wacky. Do some wacky stuff to help keep your stars on the field. I think it'd be hilarious. It'd be like Call of Duty. You're buying your guy back in, like at the buy station. Like here comes Denke parachuting back in for Hell is Real after tearing another dude's ankle up in the game before.
The other one would be teammates can serve suspensions for you.
Oh, like hockey, where like if the goalie gets a penalty, some schmo has to go in the box and serve his penalty. Yeah.
Yes, I want Santos to be like, you know what? I'm out for Hell is Real.
He's a vibes guy, man. Santos is the ultimate vibes guy. So you know what? I got your card suspension, brother. Don't worry about it.
I think he'd do it.
Side. He absolutely would.
I think he'd do it.
That would be great. You could do if the concession, if you needed a concession, would be yellow card suspension is now a team stat. So once your team accumulates so many yellow cards, then somebody on the team has to be suspended for the next game. And that's fine too. So
I hate accumulation as it is. I don't see much utility to it. And these refs can't be trusted. With this kind of power.
It's a tool that the consequences are so much more than the in the moment utility. Like, Yeah, give an early yellow card to sort of set the tone for the game. That sounds good and that's fine. And that's how a referee will manage a game. But like, you give a yellow to the wrong guy and all of a sudden a season spirals out of control, or a guy is suspended for a game that he was so vital in, and now it's going to be difficult. Like, the consequences are so much more than you're getting a little, you're talking back to me a little too much, young man. Like,
an individual game should be a self-contained narrative.
Yes.
I don't want to have to know like lore to understand I gotta watch the last couple of games to find out like what happened to this character who's not going to be in this episode this week.
This is what's killing the Marvel Cinematic Universe, incidentally, is that, wait,
Yes.
I bought my $20 ticket to this movie. You're telling me I also had to have watched The Falcon and the Winter Soldier for like 10 episodes?
The other thing is too, maybe there's a easily digestible list somewhere, but there is not a live tracking updater on the league website for how close people are to a yellow card suspension.
There is, the only thing that they release is in the disciplinary report, it lists the players who are one caution away from a yellow card suspension. But also, I think 5 games, if you go 5 games without a yellow, one drops off. So it becomes kind of difficult to track on your own, because you have to you can't just look and see how many yellow cards a player has. You have to go down game by game and say, I mean, at this point in the season, right, we're pretty early, but if you get later, it's like, oh, I gotta count how many games they went without a yellow and take one off, but you can't go below 0. So
it's
what would you put the price at? So let's say that you can just buy a yellow card off someone's like record for GAM, and the GAM is like donated to like some sort of a charity or something like that, whatever it is.
So
for GAM needy teams out there, please, will someone think of?
It would go to Miami.
It would absolutely go to Miami. That would be the messy slush fund.
50,000 seems fine.
Yeah,
I was going to say $22,000. Did I do this right?
I think 50,000 is the least that you can trade.
Okay.
And like, this is obviously a different rule, so you could make it less if you want. But since 50,000 is already the minimum you can trade in GAM, that seems like the right number to me.
It's 50,000 for the first one, and it's 100,000 for the next one, and it keeps doubling. So, like, by the end of the season, to keep Matt Miazga legal, you probably need to have half a million in GAM. Just we had
to buy out Corey Baird so that we had enough GAM for Matt Miazga to avoid a yellow card suspension.
We sold an international spot so that Matt Miazga can play next week.
Dado's playing in Serie B now because we really needed Miazga back there.
You know what'd be really funny too is, okay, you know who you have to give the money to is whatever team you're playing next, like to get them out of the suspension.
Funny,
so
yeah.
You have to make the determination, the business decision. Is Kevin Denke worth giving the crew $100,000 for him to play this one game?
See, now look, the goal is always to force interesting decisions, and that is an interesting decision. Just to explain my number, 22,000 is roughly 1/36th of the max salary, which is where I was going with it. So it's one game of the season for a max salary player.
I think we hit it.
Yeah,
you start at 50, it increases the more you use it, and the GAM goes to
the team,
your opponent, your next opponent.
Come on, MLS.
There's some team that's gonna like sign a max TAM player just because they get really lucky as to like how the games are officiated, or they put some official on the take that whenever somebody's about to have a card suspension, just make sure they hit it for us. We have a big transfer window planned in the summer.
Right. Like you track, Miazga's cards throughout the year.
Yes.
And if you find out, they've already bought him out of they've already bailed him out. This is like, I guess it'd be bail allocation money.
Yeah.
It's bail money is really what it is. Yes.
So they've bailed him out 3 times. Now it's 400,000 or whatever. You call up Armando Villarreal or something.
Oh shit!
And you're like, hey, you got to guard him this game.
Yeah, somehow Foster Gillette will become the number 1 bail bondsman in MLS.
I was just about to say, Chief, you bail bondsman this, so you could actually just put up a 1/4 of the GAM penalty, and if they don't get a card, that's all you pay. But if they get a card, you owe 4x what you just put up.
I enjoy the fact that we're advocating openly for a cash bail system. We're never shaking the allocations here.
No, it's allocation money. The cash. The cash for players rule is a different rule.
That's a slightly different rule. This, I will say, it is a cash bail system. However, it is also abolishing prison if we're getting rid of the suspension. So, it's give and take here. Give and take.
Buy your way into justice. It's great.
All of that is to say, Miss Penso, you just earned yourself free LASIK eye surgery. For, I don't know if it will fix implicit bias, if that's what's going on here, but better eyesight would maybe help you have seen that play a little bit better from the fine folks over at LASIK, where you too, listener, can go to LASIK.com/thepostcincy for $1,100 off your procedure. Again, that is a real thing. So if you are on the fence about it, free consultation. The folks in Cincy are the best in the country. I'm saying it, okay? Come at me. They're some of the best in the country at a minimum, all right? And you're in good hands, okay? So give it a shot. LASIK.com/thepostcincy, $1,100 off. The second best offer you will find in Cincinnati-based soccer podcasts, around $1,100 off. So
I think it's the best offer. It's not the most money.
Okay.
But it's the best.
But it's the best.
Well,
it's the best value.
Certainly. And,
basically the most important thing you can take care of.
Yeah, your vision, seeing your loved ones, seeing your pets, safe driving, so many things.
Don't want to miss the next bicycle kick.
Imagine if you could see in perfect vision from across the stadium for the next great play. No glasses, no opera glasses or binoculars needed. You just get to see it, baby. That's what LASIK is offering you.
Get vision so good that you can see Pat Noonan across the field, even when he wears the same color as the seats.
You might, no guarantee, you might see him smile after they score.
I was about to say, you want to have perfect vision when you take a look at Pat Noonan, because you might miss the only chance in your life to see that man smile during a game.
Look, if you need to be warm, wear a jacket. You need to be colder, take off the jacket. You need to improve your vision? LASIK.com/thepostcincy. Better vision, better calls. That leads us to the other unfortunate bit of the first half. Matt Miazga calling his own number and coming off. I'll say, as of recording, I have not seen anything else outside of what was reported on the game day, or during the match, which was that it was a precautionary thing. He felt hamstring tightness. He did not immediately go to the locker room, which was good. He walked off the field without a limp, which was good. The broadcast tried to zero in on when this happened, and they saw a really big clearance, and then he immediately called to the sideline to sub out. But there was a couple of beats between those two moments, so it's not exactly clear when or where he was injured. But Chief, scale of 1 to 10, how worried are we?
2, 3. This feels very reminiscent of when Miles Robinson called his own number and took himself out of a game. Similar situation.
Looked exactly the same.
Hamstring tightness. And, I think there were some unsubstantiated rumors that we got in the Discord from people that sit nearby in the tunnel club where you can actually hear the players that Miazga said it felt tight.
Okay.
So you would want to hope that this is a veteran player realizing that something isn't right. We're deep at this position. I've done this and I've know my body well enough to know that something isn't good and we're not going to risk it any further. So it wasn't the important part is it wasn't a knee, wasn't, something else. And I realize we're back in the exact same spot we were when he left and ended the season last year where, it's just a laceration. Thank God. He'll be back as soon as they stitch that bad boy up.
Yeah. MRI tomorrow is going to make us all look like idiots, but I agree with you. It doesn't feel too crazy. In comes teenage Hadebe, and there is so much to talk about with his game. But Grayson, maybe from a top line perspective, how did teenage do getting back into the lineup?
It's tough to come in a situation like that, right?
Yeah,
No
you
warm
get
up.
no warm up. You come in just for a couple of minutes, and then you got to sit for 15 minutes.
Oh, it's the worst.
You know?
Yeah.
So I could see how you're thinking about a lot of things. Obviously, he had a really bad moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if it was just unlucky. I don't even know it was bad.
His arm is pretty far outstretched. Like there's a reason guys, defend with their arms behind their back a lot of the time, But I mean, thought he was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta remember it was his first game back after a long time too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. It was like a revolving door of center backs there.
Because he hasn't played since he had his visa issues.
Yeah, right.
It's been a really long time since teenage Davies been in this lineup. And, it's to the credit of all the other players that have been playing along the back line that I don't think anyone really missed teenage. That's not a slight on him so much as it is an absolute credit to players like Gilberto Flores, and I think chief among them is Nick Hagland, who,
yes,
I mean, there's no good time or bad time to talk about this. Nick Hagland was awesome last night.
He was like getting into the attack. He was spending a lot of time in the opposing box. Like he was like, "What are you doing, Nick?"
Yeah, Nick went on a few adventures in this game, and it was very fun to watch. I was like, "Wow, I didn't know Alvis Powell grew by a foot." Like there was some purpose to the game. He was feeling it a little bit, and he was a little nice with it too. I was kind of surprised by it, but that's what they need more of. They need a little bit more of that willingness. If you're going to play three center backs, occasionally one of them has to find himself upfield every so often. That used to be the Yerson Mascara YOLO run.
Yes.
Every so often, I don't hate that. Get up there, make sure that they know you're out there.
It was good, and
he was great. He was rarely threatened. He passed extremely well. I don't know what the hell they did to fix his leg, but apparently they've been injecting him with like the super soldier serum from Captain America or some shit.
This has been a great year for Nick Hagland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's all of his strengths have been showcased. Except he hasn't gotten that header goal yet, but that'll come.
It's coming. Yeah.
It's coming.
No, he's not going to get a header goal. He's going to hit like a laser blast from outside of the box. That's the way we do business here in Cincinnati.
That's a good point. If it's in the box, it actually doesn't count.
And that's like if we're saying that we're the Golden State Warriors of soccer, that's like the reserve big man coming out there and hitting the no yes 3-pointer.
Yeah. That's exactly it. The handball.
Should we trademark Soccer Splash Brothers just for Orellano, Evander, Denke, all of our we love to shoot from anywhere on the field boys?
Yes. We need to get on the horn with Cincy shirts.
We do.
The penalty, it's unfortunate. I don't think there's too many quibbles with it being a handball. That's how the rule is written. It's unfortunate. And Brandon Vasquez scores in front of TQL Stadium yet again. He is 3 for 3 in playing FC Cincinnati now. So officially put him down as a Cincy killer. Not that they get the win in the end, but certainly somebody that is performing well against us.
Someone was chirping him before that PK too. Who was that? That was
Roman.
It was Roman.
Wasn't it Roman?
There were a couple people over there, but like Roman was jawing at him a little bit too, which I was like, you know what? For a guy that has a reputation at not being too great at saving PKs, I like the energy.
Yes. He can't ever act like the keeper who has a bad reputation at PKs.
No.
So
You live your truth, Roman. I don't care. Live your truth, man.
I thought Roman did well. He obviously picks the wrong side, but had he picked the right side, I think he would have done well there. But not much you can do there. The defense, it's unfortunate.
It's the only way they were scoring in this game too.
Yeah,
like they had one point blank chance on a classic Brandon Vasquez running into the box to finish off a cross like a whipped in ball in the first half. But other than that, they did not have a lot of good sustained offensive pressure in this match. And you did get the feeling that if they were going to score, it was going to be because of something like this or something fluky. So I honestly wasn't concerned when they went down, when they tied it up either. I was pretty confident we were going to get a second goal in this game, which is not a feeling I've had a lot this year.
I felt the same way. And it was even to the point where when we finally got the second goal, sorry to interrupt, Chief.
No, you're fine.
I was like I would normally at that point have just been much more nervous than I was because we're like 30 minutes into the half. Right. And I never like got to that headspace. Like I was just enjoying watching the game, waiting for our next goal to come.
It's been a while since you could watch a FCC match like that. And it's funny if you go look at the XG charts, obviously the penalty itself is adding quite a bit there. But when you look at like the shot maps and things like that, sure, Austin takes some good shots right in front of goal, but so many of them were these like weird breakaways, desperate crosses that were never actually too terribly threatening. It was very well handled by the defense. And so I think technically one of their attackers has touched the ball in the box in that spot, and the ball, I guess, kind of goes towards goal. So it looks really good from an XG shot perspective, but
their shots don't go wide.
Right.
That's the thing, I think, that with this FC Cincinnati defense, and it's kind of, when you play three center backs, it's bend but don't break defense. And you're going to get touches in front of goal. You're going to get shots, but we got three guys in the back line. Someone's going to be in your way to block the shot. And this team is exceptional at blocking shots and people laying out, getting feet, getting bodies in front of the ball. And it's reflected in the fact that you look at their heat map for, shots and touches in the box, they're all dead center. Yet despite all of them being dead center, 11 total shots, only 2 on frame, because it's a lot of big athletic guys on the back line, and good luck getting it through everybody.
Yeah. So this is also why we have coined the phrase, the MLS clean sheet, where you play really well, you dominate a team, and at the end of the day, their multi-million-dollar striker does get one on a penalty.
Right.
So it goes. All right. There's only so much you can do there.
This is also one where I just feel like the XG, even when you take out the penalty, I don't think it tells the story of this game all that well.
No.
Like for me, the stats that tell the story are like, we had 56% possession, we had 17 shots, 4 big chances, missed 3 of them.
Right.
And we had 11 corners to their 1 corner.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a tilted game.
Yeah. That was a beating. Like this was this was a little bit of an ass kicking, and it's reflected in the possession. It's reflected in the passing. It's reflected in the type of possession that was occurring, and the fact that they missed one good chance and scored a PK, but for that they were not a threat to score any other goals in this match. Whereas I think that even in the second half, where I don't think the FC was quite as dominant because they make some changes that I think take away a little of the venom on the team. I still think they could have scored at least 2 or 3 goals in the second half as well. To Austin, they got that one, and that was about it in terms of really threatening movements that they had. Kevin, I think at this point, we got to talk about your boy.
I was going to say, truly the most impactful moment of this game, though, is in the 68th minute when Dado Valenzuela subs into the game for Sergio Santos. Brian Anunga also comes on for Yuya Kubo.
Which I didn't need at that point. I understand Kubo's, I guess, still working back to fitness. That was my only sort of like wet blanket moment where like I wasn't concerned, but the minute Anunga came onto the field, I was like, I think it'll be harder to score a goal than if they had committed fully to keeping that second midfielder in the game.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Dado comes on and it doesn't matter. Look, when you have a superstar like Dado Valenzuela, it really papers over any of the other cracks that you might have on the team, on the roster, in the city, in your personal life. Okay. There's a lot happening when you have a guy as young and as good and frankly as handsome as Dado Valenzuela. This team could not be better positioned for having a sort of breakout season from a youngster. Okay. That was, I think we mentioned that somewhere early on that like, if one guy can take a step forward, this team could be elite. And I mean, Jonah's been there. I've been there. People have been there. Apparently Evander is there. Believers in Dado. I think he's got it. And you see that on the second goal. It is everything that we want from this team. It starts off with Buka getting the ball, passing it to Orellano. Orellano driving in, cutting in, drawing 3 defenders on him. He crosses the ball early to Angle, who stops the ball on a dime. Perfect. Waits for the play to develop. Ball to Evander. Evander suddenly is all alone at the top of the box. You half expect him to shoot right then and there. That's what he does. Kei is making a very hard run into the box and taking 2 defenders with him. In fact, okay, sure. If we're gonna hyper analyze Kei's physicality, helps the defender run past him. Okay. But in doing that, the other center back running back now has to cover Kei. Kei is kind of open if Evander can slip the ball in, but the defense is collapsing in on Evander and Kei. Buka arrives at the top of the box. He's ready and waiting. Orellano has crashed into the box. What does Evander do? Oh, he plays a lofted ball to the back corner. Nobody's there, right? Weird decision. Nope, there's Dado Valenzuela on the volley, screamer into the top of the net. Bailey is feeling it. The Shalalas begin. It's everything you ever wanted in a goal.
That was A+ Bailey after that goal, by the way.
Yeah.
Bailey was really in good voice. Yeah.
Top
Kevin,
tier footy limbs.
Yeah, you want to take 30 seconds, just take a little victory lap right here, Kevin?
Yeah, I would. Okay, look. Some of us, we buy the dip. Some of us, we've got diamond hands. And some of us, we do both. Okay, Dado Valenzuela is a great investment from the hype machine. Jump on the bandwagon now because it is only upwards and onwards from here. We'll talk about it in part 2. Kei Kamara is coming for this team. He is going to be your impact sub off the bench. Now, you might say, hey, isn't that Sergio Santos' role? To which I say, Not anymore, because Dado Valenzuela is your starter, and now Sanchez is going to have to fend off Kamara for super sub minutes. This is Dado Valenzuela's starting role on this team. He is good enough. He is developing exactly along the lines that you would hope. I have a quote.
You got to read the whole quote.
Yeah,
I do have
It's
to
a
read
lot
the
of
whole
quote, but it is worth. I'm looking at it right now.
Same.
Oh, please read it, because I do not have it right in front of me. But please read it.
I have it right in front of me here.
Okay.
All right, go.
All right, here it is. This is from Evander,
Yes.
who
Is reported by Laurel Failer, right?
as reported by Laurel Failer, QueenCityPress.net.
Give credit for getting the quote.
Yeah, Kevin. This I was about to say. You know who else agrees with your take on Dado Valenzuela? Well, that would be MLS MVP candidate Evander. Quote: "From the first moment I got here and I saw him." Speaking of Dado Valenzuela, I didn't know him before, and I saw him training and playing. I knew he was a special talent the club has, and I think he needs a better way of treatment because he's a special guy. He's too good, and I know he's the future. So I'm glad he's bringing that to the pitch. He's showing in every opportunity he has. He's getting to it, and I'm very happy the way that he scored today. Followed up question further about that. I think it's deserving more space in the team, Dado, regarding Dado. He's doing really, really well the moments he came onto the pitch. I know he's young, and normally when you're young, you struggle a little bit, but he's getting there. He's getting more experience. He's a guy that has a lot of confidence and is a very good player and a person. So I think with a bit of time, we will have like a next superstar in the team. That is bold.
You know what it reminded me of? And you know what? I have no issue making this comparison. So please come at me if people have issues with it. In 2005, Ronaldinho won the Ballon d'Or. And in accepting his award for best player in the world, he said, "This award says I'm the best player in the world. I'm not even the best player on my team." He was, of course, referring to, I think, then 16-year-old Leo Messi. Okay, that's the vibes I'm getting from this quote.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's so effusive.
Yes,
It is. Yeah.
I'm always reminded.
Hold on. It should be noted. If you don't know this, Evander speaks very fluent English. He is very, very fluent in English. So this is not a mistranslation error.
Right.
This is not someone speaking through him. This is pointed. Grayson, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, something I'm always reminded of with this stuff is and I wanted to talk about another thing Evander did as well, but just to put a pin in that. But whenever you hear players talk about like who they think the best player is,
yes,
it's always like a bench guy who's great in small-sided games.
yes.
Like it always is. It always is. It was like, I remember the one I just will not ever forget is when Zlatan played at LA Galaxy. He thought Efrain Alvarez was like the best player in the world.
Yes.
Like he would just go on
stop
and
talking
on
about
Efrain Alvarez.
It's like, this kid's the future of the Mexican national team, everything. Yeah.
Although it's Zlatan, you always got to wonder if he's just, somebody put him up to it. And like there was money on the line where it's like, how many times do you think you can mention him over the next month?
God, this was the same time where I think it was Perry Kitchen. He just kept calling Kevin. And refused
That's it is. Yeah.
Refused
Your
to
name is
call him
Kevin.
Kevin.
Your name is Kevin now.
Perry Kitchen had a very good career.
Yeah, well, he's not Zlatan, so he doesn't get to pick his own name.
Here's the other thing Evander did. And I thought was the funniest thing maybe a player on our teams has ever done. So after Evander scored, he did like a T with his hands.
Yes.
And this is from Carter Chapley. It says, Evander tells us that the tea celebration after his goal is for teenage Hadebi. It's tea time. That's what's up. Evander laughs. Says that Teenage did the gesture to him at the facility this week, so he wanted to celebrate back to him. It's all about Big T-Bone. It's tea time. That's what's up.
It's tea time. That's what Cincy shirts just like get on this shit, man.
It's tea time. That's what it's up is a shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a shirt.
Teenage Navy signature under there. Perfect.
It's tea time. That's what's up with Teenage Navy. Just enjoying a cup.
I was unfortunately reminded of the South Park episode where all of the rich people moved to South Park and
put T's on their lawn.
They burn lowercase t's. It's T for time to get out. Yes.
That episode has maybe one of the hardest I've ever laughs is at the end. Mr. Garrison's line that they cut off right with the comments.
Yes.
Like it's where they have the credits. It's phenomenal.
Man.
Dado, I got to go back to it.
Please. By all means.
He has looked not just good, he has looked fantastic in every single appearance he's made so far this year.
Yeah.
And it's getting better. He's also got 2 goals on the season already?
Yep.
2 game winners even. Yes.
Like his goals per 90 has to be off the damn chart at this point because of how limited his minutes are and how many goals he scored. He's got to start one of these next 2 games, right? Like he's got to start against Toronto.
I don't think Pat Noonan likes him.
I don't think he does either. But I feel like the conversation.
I think he thinks he's like a little snot. Like I just get this sense because they're like, because Laurel is always asking about Dado and if he's got more opportunities and when he's got more playing time, it's like, oh, Dado, and Noonan always seems to just blow it off, where he's like, well, he had a nice moment. But it's not just about one moment.
Right.
I'm trying to find it in this article. I think it was in Laurel's article as well, where something where like that Dado got like screamed at by Noonan in a practice within the last couple of weeks. And like that's kicked off his incredible run of form. So I don't think you're off base on this.
I missed that.
Yeah, I got to find that. It's it was either in Laurel's or Carter's or somebody reported it that
I can tell you if it's about Noonan screaming at Dado, Carter did not report it.
Did not report that. Well, no, just more the idea that like he was, he didn't have his best form in practice. All right, that aside.
Yes.
Aren't you at least curious what 90 minutes of Dado next to Kevin Denke looks like? Because 100%. I am now insatiably curious.
Especially if he has this connection with Evander, or at the very least, the confidence from Evander to get the ball. That would be the other thing is like maybe Evander wouldn't play like a young academy kid because, the ball, because he doesn't trust him to make the right decision there, or of the 2 decisions, shooting is going to make more sense. He apparently has full faith and confidence of Evander, which is great. And I think Dado has enough, footwork, passing skills in him to make Denke, useful and dangerous there. Yeah. And let's be honest, is like Sergio Santos your nailed on starter? He's never ever going to lead? Absolutely not. Like he's good. He's fine, but he's not banging goals in. He's not tearing it up so much that you can't imagine a world where Santos is not starting up top. So yeah, I think you want to see one of these games with Dado up top. Sure, maybe it's not Columbus, but against Toronto, by all means, you should earn the start there.
He also said, and I'm trying to find the quote as well, that when he played that ball to the back post, he didn't know who was going to make that run. He just knew that somebody was going to make that run. So by the fact that Dado made that run, to me, that's almost like some medieval, like high fantasy. Well, how did I select my dragon that I ride? It's like, well, I played the ball into this spot and he was the one that came to claim it right there. Like there's some mystical energy now between Dado and Evander that I think we need to exploit. We need to investigate further.
Yeah, the one thing I have close to that, Chief, is from Carter. Said, I'm just going to read the tweet here. Dado Valenzuela says that he knew a pass from Evander was coming on his goal. Says there was just a mental connection in that moment. That said, Dado added that he knew he'd be able to get to that space because the defender was more concerned with Kevin Denke. And folks, if that isn't the theory for the season, I don't know what is. So perfect.
And then the fanboys will get really, really mad when they use this special connection to allow him to transport a lightsaber to Dado.
When Evander just force ghosts his way through an entire game that he was never actually playing, and they think that there were 12 men on the field, but actually Evander wasn't there, they're never going to believe it.
No, we'll definitely get a card for that.
The game then ends without too much controversy or anything else happening that I can truly remember off the top of my head. Yedlin does sub in.
I think Austin thought the official called the game too early because they still had the ball in the attacking third, but the ball, it was the attacking phase was over.
It's 7 damn minutes of stoppage time too. That was absurd. So
it was a lot of time, and it wasn't exactly clear to me where that 7 minutes came from.
No idea. All I know is that vibes were immaculate. Just like that was an immaculate vibes night. From the weather was just absolutely perfect. Full sellout, loud crowd. You look around and you see pictures of other stadiums around the league that aren't drawing, full houses, and that felt like a good old days game and a get right game, and I'm happy the result matched that because that was really, really fun last night.
Yeah. I was bummed I could not watch it in person, but was happy to watch along on the screen. And I'm very jealous of everybody who got to experience that. Man, it looked awesome. You could feel it through the television. Okay, so good job everybody cheering and singing and sha-la-laing, and it truly looked like, especially on that second goal, that like the whole stadium picked up the sha-la-la, which
was loud. It was fun.
Really good. Chief, I also have it on good authority that you were confronted in the First Financial Club and told that somebody really liked the new podcast. Is this true? Did this happen?
They said they also really love Kevin too. So
it was my mother.
There you go.
At least we pretend we have actual fans.
Yeah. Well, apparently I also waited in line for a beer in front of Grayson's sister and had no idea whatsoever.
Good. Actually, my mom knew who you were, not because of any of the live shows, not because of any photos. You've obviously disguised your identity very well here,
Clearly.
Chief. But she served on a grand jury that you facilitate. I don't know the proper phrasing here. So, and that's where she knew you from.
There
so
we
there
go.
You go.
See, it's Cincinnati, the biggest small town in America.
Oh, so there we go. Any other thoughts on the game, the match, the experience?
It's going to get crowded here. It's going to move fast.
Good anthem.
So. Good anthem.
I thought she was very, very, very well sung.
Good anthem, and what makes this win a little impressive is that they won this game in spite of the fact that Mayor Jabroni.
Yeah, I was going to say we rehabilitated Mayor Jabroni.
Mayor Jabroni pulled the sword, and just look. Hashtag not to get political. No matter what you think of our illustrious mayor in Cincinnati, one thing we can all agree on: he should probably, stick to politics as opposed to stick to sports. His forays into sports have not gone well, famously. So I wasn't feeling confident when I saw him on the sidelines to do the pregame honors. But hey, this FC Cincinnati team, the vibes were so high with this new look lineup and with Dado Valenzuela. They overcame even Mayor Aftab's bad sports energy.
You gotta love it. Also, FCC does a great job picking anthem singers. I cannot remember a bad one, at least in the last 2-3 years. They've done a good job with it.
Yeah, I just don't usually see the anthem. So
Grayson closes his eyes and plugs his ears.
Right. Hard to see the singer when you're down on one knee.
All right, let's head on over to part 2, where we have, how have we waited an hour and 15 minutes to talk about this? The biggest news in FC Cincinnati history to talk about in part 2. We are back in part 2, and
ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
A wrong has been righted. The circle has been completed. The circle is unbroken, really, when you think about it. The circle of life is completed. And a big moment for me, Chief. I am once again not older than every player on FC Cincinnati. Kei Kamara has signed or will sign. Potentially by the time you're listening to this, it will have been made official. It is currently Bogart and Laurel official right now. Kei Kamara signing with FC Cincinnati on a presumably supplemental roster spot for the FC.
That was the reporting. Supplemental spot.
Good. Which prorated over the rest of the year is like $60,000. So
that doesn't hit the cap at all, is my
correct.
Right.
Yeah. So
it's a prorating nothing is still nothing.
Yes. But if anybody
he's
is wondering,
he's talking about cash money in Kai's pocket.
Yeah, we don't talk about that in this podcast. Like, we only recognize fake forms of salary cap money.
I'm getting ahead of a single criticism of this deal, which I am prepared to vanquish with the sword of truth and the shield of facts. But Chief, how do we feel Kei Kamara finally back in FC Cincinnati uniform?
All sorts of feelings. What more fitting than in an anniversary season of this club starting?
Yes,
that they bring home one of the first players ever, one of the first people to be a part of the roster for however fleeting in FC Cincinnati's MLS history. I think that by the numbers, I think he was like one of the first 5 or 10 players that FC Cincinnati would have had, I think.
I was thinking about this. I don't know when the USL guys' MLS deals were confirmed. So obviously the first 2 are Ade and Alashe. That makes sense. But like Spencer Ritchie, when did they have their MLS deals? I don't know. So he's either like 10th or 11th or like literally 4th.
Yeah. So I guess we should for those of you that don't know, if you've only picked up the FC since they've gotten good, which God, I wish I could trade places with you and not have to live through some of those years. Upon entering MLS for the when FC Cincinnati got the MLS expansion bid ahead of the 2019 MLS season, like all expansion drafts or all expansion teams in MLS, FC Cincinnati was allowed to participate in an expansion draft. And participate they did, and they made several selections in that draft. You get 5 picks in the expansion draft. They were all mostly players that you wish you could go back and unselect. But one of those players, I believe second or third overall pick?
Second. So first overall, I have it in order here. First overall, Darren Maddox,
who ended up playing for the club for a couple of years.
Yeah, who's actually
fine.
One of the only bright spots in 2019. Yeah. The third pick was Roland Lamah, who was not good. Eric Alexander, and then Hassan Ndam,
who deserves like an episode all of his own.
Yes,
because like
Hassan Minaj.
Yeah, because he was basically picked because he shut down Fernando Adi in a USL game.
Yeah,
like once.
One time. And that was impressive until it was revealed that no, that's just how good Adi is now.
Yeah, just Adi is washed. But like that guy got a job, got like an expansion draft pick for showing out for about 80 minutes one time.
Yes, but the second draft pick was Kei Kamara, off of the Vancouver Whitecaps, who was then immediately traded to the Colorado Rapids for an international roster spot that FC Cincinnati used to acquire or to make room for Kendall Waston. So I have always linked these deals because the deal was announced at the exact moment that we said that we were trading Kei Kamara. So I have always taken it in my mind that we drafted Kei Kamara and traded him for Kendall Waston. That is not what happened because they were both playing for the same team, but that is how it works in my brain there. So you can sort of mentally swap Kamara for Kendall Waston, who was good in 2019, started to fall off. He's still playing as well as a striker at 40 years old. So maybe they were in fact interchangeable picks.
I don't know if I made this up or if it was like reported in some way, but I think that I feel like that part of our deal for Waston, who was protected in the expansion draft.
Yeah.
So we could only get him by Vancouver willingly letting us have him for something. That part of the deal was we get Kei off their books.
That would make sense.
That we take Kei in the expansion draft, and then they also work out a trade for Waston.
For Waston. Yeah. So they were, they're very closely related. But what that meant was Kei Kamara was on FC Cincinnati for the amount of time it took Alan Koch, who was doing the expansion draft live in MLS studios at the time it was being live streamed. He was an FC Cincinnati player, Kei Kamara, for as long as it took Alan Koch to read the statement that they were then immediately trading him.
Yeah, and if you don't recall what that was like, it was about as awkward, that draft with Alan Koch, as you would imagine it would be.
It was rough. It was pretty rough. There is still a pretty well sourced, and we've had it quote unquote confirmed by everybody who wasn't Alan Koch, that Eric Alexander, for example, was drafted because Koch got nervous and kind of forgot who he was supposed to draft and blurted out a name he remembered.
Yeah.
So there was Eric Alexander.
Yeah, you talk with enough people about this, they all have a good laugh about it now in hindsight.
Yeah.
It did not seem like FC Cincinnati was a well-run organization during this draft, and it was noted by just about everyone that followed this process.
So Hassan and Dom, by the way, never played for FC Cincinnati. Did you say that?
I did not say that. I sort of assumed he did.
Never appeared in a game for the team. I don't even think appeared in like a cup game or anything.
I was going to say maybe an Open Cup game, but okay.
And so he was on the roster for a year.
Yeah.
Was I think loaned
Charleston?
So okay, here we go. He was loaned to Charlotte in 2019, loaned to the Miami.
Charlotte is a minor league
club. Charlotte Independence.
Yeah,
not Charlotte FC. Then he was loaned to the Miami FC, not Inter Miami, another minor league team, and then he just didn't play soccer for like 2 years.
Yeah,
he went to Cameroon, which is where he's from, so it's not a crazy place for him to go.
Sure.
But he just disappeared. And then he resurfaced
Sacramento.
Well, it says Orange County, but what I remember him resurfacing is back at the Red Bulls.
Yes, he went to Orange County for half a season and then was traded or just signed with Red Bull 2, I think. So yeah.
And then he played a decent amount.
Made the MLS roster, I want to say.
Yeah. For the MLS team in 23. And I think he was let go after the end of that year, but what I remember is the game that we were presented with the Shield.
Yes.
Walking into the restroom at the First Financial Club and seeing him walk past me And as I'm a total sicko, I know what Hassan Adam looks like. I'm capable of recognizing this guy on sight. And I was just like, why is Hassan Adam in the First Financial Club while his team is like playing a game?
Yeah, shouldn't he be on the bench?
Why did he travel?
Surely.
Why is he there?
Yeah. Surely they can find him another ticket somewhere.
So a horrific expansion draft, but Kei Kamara is tied to this. He has made reference to this multiple times over the years of being an FC Cincinnati former player or being drafted in the expansion draft. He's always said it with a wink, wink, nudge, nudge sort of, I know I'd never actually played for the team, which is always very funny. I love that. He appeared in a March 2020 video like salute to heroes thing at the very beginning of the pandemic, which I got a kick out of because he appeared in it in an FC Cincinnati jersey. And it was not clear to me how or why he had this. So
that's a thing. Absolutely. That you go to another team, somebody buys you that as a gag gift. Is that you were an FC Cincinnati player for 45 seconds.
Of course. Yeah. A couple of people, including one, Joseph Mame, who I believe was first on this. I'll give him the title of first on this, had a Kamara FC Cincinnati jersey in 2019. Very funny. That is always good. So excited to have him back.
This jersey is an insta buy. Like if you have been on the fence about acquiring the new kit and didn't know whose number you wanted to get on the back of it, Kei Kamara is a pretty good pick. It's a deep cut FC Cincinnati legend.
The lore is so good here. Okay.
And not only that too, beyond the lore, the man is 26 goals away from setting the MLS record. Now, he is not going to score 26 goals this year. That is just not going to happen. He might not break this record, but if he does, then what better piece of memorabilia than to have? It's like owning a Tom Brady Buccaneers jersey. It's just I own one because obviously I think he's the greatest athlete of all time and the greatest quarterback of all time and a Buccaneers legend who should have his number retired. But getting the legend who plays late career for your team, getting that jersey, Emmitt Smith on the Arizona Cardinals.
Yes. Terrell Owens Bengals jersey.
Yes. The T.O. Bengals jersey. If I was a Bengals fan, that would be what I wore to every single game. That's just, there's nothing better than it. And so this is a rare opportunity for the FC to have that sort of aging legend of the league play for your team. And you have to take advantage of the jersey opportunity that you have here.
Yeah. And I want to say too, like I've seen people like questioning this move or wondering like why this move or even like questioning Kei, like why would you sign Kamara? Why this guy? There's this idea that he's like locker room cancer because this is in fact his 12th team. He's played for almost half of MLS, which is really hard to do because MLS keeps adding teams every year.
All right. If you had to guess, Kevin, how many of the teams he's played on can you name without looking at his stats?
So I don't know if the 12 teams includes the team he's played for twice. So he played for Columbus twice. He played for San Jose, and then they moved to Houston. And then he played for Kansas City. So this is 4 or 5, depending on how we're counting. Colorado, Vancouver, obviously, Montreal, Chicago, LAFC. Hang on. Did he ever play for Galaxy?
Does not look like it.
Ola Kamara played there, the Norwegian.
Kamara.
Yeah. New England. He played in New England.
Played for New England.
Did I say Montreal? He definitely
said Montreal.
I'm out of teams. I'm missing one.
All right. He has played for in his career. You got one wrong. He never played for Houston or You've never played for Houston. He played for.
Okay.
He played for. Oh wait, yeah, he did here. Hold on.
Hey.
He played for CF Montreal, Chicago Fire, Colorado Rapids, Houston Dynamo, LAFC, The one you missed, Minnesota United. I don't think, did you say Minnesota?
Whoa, I had no idea.
Minnesota United, New England Revolution, San Jose Earthquakes, Sporting KC, and the Vancouver Whitecaps, who he was acquired from in the expansion draft.
Boom.
Also has played for Norwich City, Middlesbrough, and the Sierra Leone.
He was teammates with Justin Hoyt at Middlesbrough, by the way.
I think he's younger than Justin Hoyt. He's
a little younger than he's slightly he's older than Justin Hoyt.
Yeah.
Justin Hoyt was old when in 2019. Okay.
I was trying to find a picture of them together at Middlesbrough, but they only played, I think, in like 2 games at the same time, just based on like when they overlapped there.
Like 2 months older than Justin Hoyt.
But there is an article of that mentioned Kamara, Hoyt, and another player going to some local fair and like riding the bumper cars. And apparently like Kamara like tweeted out a video of them riding in the bumper cars, but I couldn't find the video. And so if anybody can locate the video of Justin Hoyt and Kei Kamara riding bumper cars with each other, can you send it my way, please?
You know who else was at Middlesbrough between 2012 and 2015?
Ledesma?
Emmanuel Ledesma.
Was he? Did he play with Kamara?
I don't know. I'm only looking at this on Wikipedia. Ledesma went out on 2 loans in 2014 and 2015. So he should have been there. 56 appearances. I don't know if he ever played with Kai, but he would have certainly been in the building at the same time.
Crazy.
Man.
And you know what? Anyone that says that this is a bad signing or has a problem with this, come on. This is a supplemental roster spot for a guy that is an absolute legend in this league. And he would be worth, what, $60,000 on he would be worth that if all he did was show up, play in training, and just talk to Evander, Denke, and Dado and all the offensive players about, hey, I've played these center backs before. This is what you need to watch that they do. I've played against the team this guy's coached. Yep. This is what you need to do. This is how you position. This is how you receive. This is what they're going to do when you make this move or make this run. Like the institutional knowledge in this guy's brain about playing in MLS makes him as valuable as a coach if you can get him to share that with people. And go ahead, Grayson. But like the ideas of him being a locker room cancer, it's based on like one thing, time, one instance where he fought over a PK, I think. But otherwise, like there's not a lot of negative things anyone has to say about this guy. By all accounts, everyone thinks he's a great teammate and a great locker room guy.
Yeah, he's known for pranks and being goofy, and people seem to love him.
Yeah, I just, the locker room cancer thing, I just don't believe. I understand. I know that it comes from a story of a kind of an argument that he had with Federico Higuain when they both played in Columbus. But he's not, I don't mean this in a bad way. He's not like such a special talent that if he was a terrible player to have in your locker room, teams would still sign him.
Right.
Like you said, like, yeah, he played for 12 teams. You could look at a player who's played for a lot of teams and think, oh, well, he always like,
he burns through clubs.
He burns through clubs, but this is a guy who is more of like a journeyman type, right? Like a guy who's like always, whenever he's available, somebody reaches and picks him up.
Yeah, he's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he is.
He played for a bunch of teams. The talent is still there to be valuable, but like he's not a starter. But he's like, you don't keep getting signed places at age 40 and 39 unless the vibes are immaculate. Because like the easiest thing in the world is to not sign a 38-year-old, a 39-year-old, or a 40-year-old. Like that people are great in soccer at not signing old players. If you are still getting signed at that age, it means that not only can you still contribute, it means that like you're a good dude to be around, because they could have just as easily signed anyone else to this supplemental roster spot. And if you believe Bogart's reporting, which there's no reason not to, because let's be real about who he talks to, there were other clubs after Kei Kamara, and he was sort of just picking his spot. This is the classic. I really didn't feel like going to training camp. I'm not going to play a full season. I'm going to wait and find my opportunity so that I don't have to do all the hard work. I can just go and show up and train on my own time.
He did play with Ledesma.
I was just about to tell you, 7 matches, 83 minutes in total they played together.
Dude, this rules. I'm sorry. You like, it would still be a fun conversation if they had lost, but the team looked awesome. Kei Kamara was in the building.
Yes.
Anything he gives you is just, you gotta look at this as this is a great option to have for 10 minutes, 15 minutes off the bench in a match. And oh my God, will someone please think of the narratives if he ends up scoring a goal in Hell is Real this weekend?
I am praying for Kei Kamara to at least appear in Hell is Real, but to score a goal against Columbus would be chef's kiss. If you're worried about his fitness, by the way, last played in MLS in late November 2024, November 23rd, in a loss to the Seattle Sounders. But in the rest
played with Steven Wondolowski.
That's a deep cut.
He played with Chris Wondolowski's brother.
His brother.
And with Chris Wondolowski. But I don't think I even knew. I never heard of Steven Wondolowski before.
It'd be really funny to ask him if he can, how many of the teammates on his first team he can still remember. Like, if you had to list the other starters on your first team, can you name all those players? It's like, I think there was a Bob in there somewhere. I don't.
We, in our fantasy football chat, we have a running gag that whenever you run into somebody remotely famous, you have to ask that famous person to record a message that says Nick Boroff sucks at fantasy football, one of the guys in the league. And we've had
played with Jeff Cameron.
We've had some pretty famous people do this, but one of the people we've had do it is the aforementioned Wondolowski brother.
Steven Wondolowski.
Steven Wondolowski made the Nick Boroff sucks at fantasy football highlight reel in our fantasy chat.
One of the questions they ask on Pardon My Take to athletes is they say, like, how many Johnsons have you played with? Like, can you name all the people with the last name Johnson that you have played with in your career?
He played with a lot of Ibrahims. He played with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 12 or 13 Ibrahims.
Did he ever play against Noonan?
By the way, played in 2 games with Justin Hoyt, 26 minutes total.
This is awesome. No notes.
Yeah, I like there were some people was like, oh, he's too old. Not good use of supplemental spot. Anything that you want the team to do with the roster, they can still do. This has no impact on any possible signing they might make. And, you know, we had some real sicko hours in our Discord where we were looking at like out of contract central midfielders.
Yeah.
And like the only plausible person in the entire world was Ben Bender. And he both signed with Philly and couldn't get time in USL and has been injured.
Yeah.
So like, man, like this, if our hopes were resting on Ben Bender, I wish him the best, but
Chief, Kei Kamara played against Pat Noonan in 4 matches, 134 minutes total. And before you ask, 5 matches against Chris Albright for 403 minutes.
See, come on, this gets better and better.
Was he ever teammates with Hunter Freeman? That feels like a big thing.
Okay, hang on.
A better podcast would have researched this ahead of time instead of just doing it on the fly.
I don't see him ever having played with Hunter Freeman. But yeah, so I think it's if you don't like this move, what I really have to say is that you don't have to care about everything. Like
Yeah, it's
sometimes
okay.
sometimes stuff can just happen and you can just let it go by you.
8 matches against Hunter Freeman. Going back to 2006. Oh, that is so good.
Get him. Just let me know what number to order on the back of the kit.
Oh, how about this? He played Hunter Freeman in 2016 when he played for New England. Where was Hunter Freeman? Well, Hunter Freeman was playing for the New York Cosmos. Okay, so
Was it an Open Cup game?
it was an Open Cup
There we
game in the
go.
round of 16.
Was Hunter Freeman teammates with Ledesma at the Cosmos?
Had to have been. All right, real quick. Don't mind me just clicking around on transfer markets. Very handy tool here. And let me
This is
look.
great radio.
It's not looking good.
We're look, man, we're just naming guys. We're remembering guys. It's classic.
Hunter
This is
Freeman.
classic us behavior right here.
Oh, of course. 20. Well, I think Ledesma. Ledesma joins Cosmos in 2017. Is that what happens? Yes. He only played for the Cosmos in 2017. So he joined the year after Freeman probably left the Cosmos. Damn. I was like, wait, 2016 was Ledesma
Probably
playing for
why
us?
Ledesma
No.
doesn't play for FC Cincinnati anymore.
But does coach in the academy.
That's true.
So Hunter got him anyway. So yeah, exciting news. If nothing else, he's a good, proven MLS veteran who was playing international football, by the way, in March with Sierra Leone against Egypt. He captained the team for 75 minutes in a 1-0 victory over Egypt. That's not nothing. Okay. Like that's really good. So he's still fit. He's still ready to go.
And if you're at all on the fence about the signing, just think about how annoying it will be, because he's going to score some goals for FC Cincinnati. He scored a couple goals last year. He had a couple assists last year. How annoyed other teams will be when Kei Kamara scores, because every fan base has the exact same reaction. And it's, how the F is that guy still in this league?
Yeah.
It's an incredibly annoying player to play against.
He's done very well against us. So if nothing else, we are preventing him from scoring against us by keeping him in the building.
Like
so.
that. It's fourth dimensional thinking right there.
So with that, gosh, we've got to move on to the midweek match. Let's do that in part 3. We're back. It's part 3, and we are at that part of the season where the matches do not stop coming. We've got a match on Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. It's on the road. Don't worry, you don't have tickets for this one in all likelihood, unless you're Carter. Carter goes to this one every year, right, with his family.
And Carter Sr., haver of takes about FC Cincinnati, will be at this match, I think.
I need Carter Sr.'s takes.
Is Carter's dad's name Carter?
No, he's just
Is he
Carter
Chapley? She's Chapley Senior.
He's
No,
just
he's
Carter Sr. I have no
Carter
idea.
Sr.
I have no idea what his actual name is. He's Carter Sr.
He's actually Carter Sr. Carter Chapley II. Don't worry about how that works.
We got to get him on the pod at some point.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
We got to get his full match review of an FC Cincinnati match in Toronto.
Do a segment Carter Senior's Corner.
Carter, Mr. Chapley, are you familiar with Don Cherry? We just need that for you for 5 minutes.
We got Toronto.
So
in the
is your
midweek.
name Carter? It is now.
Yeah.
Congratulations. We've renamed you.
Okay, Kevin.
Yeah, right. We just call him Kevin. My name's Perry. Toronto FC. Not a terribly good team, you would think. But they beat DC United, who's also a bad team. So they are currently ahead of Atlanta United, which I think before the season, if I told you Toronto is doing better than Atlanta United, you'd think, wow, Toronto's doing really good.
About that?
Atlanta United, weirdly bad. So Toronto, they've got 10 points on the season. They're sitting at a negative 16 goal differential. They have scored fewer goals than us. They have let in more goals than us. Like I said, they did beat DC United 2-0 this weekend. They're 2 points behind DCU on the table. Okay. It's not that big of a deal there. They do still have Bernadeschi. They do still have Insigne. They occasionally play on the same field at the same time. It's a weird team in flux. They've got Sean Johnson, a name you'll recognize in goal. I'm out of things to say. It's not a terribly good team.
No, and it's a team that has just been mired in dysfunction for the better part of 2-3 years, ever since the owner hopped on the transfer market and just looked at famous Italian singles in your area.
Literally what happened, to be clear. That is not a joke or sarcasm or exaggeration.
It's a joke, but it's true.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yes.
But the team has just been mired in dysfunction, and they have the ability occasionally to be dangerous in their play. But, over the course of 90 minutes, dysfunction is eventually going to win out. And this DC United game, I haven't had a chance to watch this back yet, but there was an own goal, was one of the goals that made a 2-0 scoreline. You would think that this match would be something that FC Cincinnati can just sort of sleepwalk their way through, like they have been during a lot of the wins they've had, and it's not going to matter what kind of play they get because talent is going to be very much on the side of the FC. But it is a midweek match. It's been a while since we've had one of those, and I would not be surprised to see some squad rotation. We'll see what the news on Matt Miazga is, but if I was a betting man right now, I would bet that Matt Miazga will not play on Wednesday, either out of precaution or out of the fact that they're giving him a minute's rotation since he's working his way back to full fitness as well. So I guess the question is, as much as you would like them to run back what they did so successfully over the weekend, how do you balance that? I'm curious what you two would do on this. Do you run back what was successful, or do you rest and rotate ahead of the bigger match against a team you don't want to drop points to, Columbus, who you're level in the table for the Eastern Conference with number one? Because if you're more concerned about that Columbus match, then you do give Denke a night off so that he can't pick up that last card for a suspension. You do give Yuya Kubo the night off as he's working back from fitness. You do give maybe that is a Yedlin game versus an Orellano game. I don't know.
I think if I'm in charge, absolutely, I'm rotating the hell out of this Toronto game. By the way, didn't mention this in my quick rundown. We beat them earlier this year. This is the second matchup. That was back in week 3. We beat them 2-0. It was a decisive, dominant victory. You just glance down all of the various statistical items, and we beat them in everything. Okay, and this is back when we were in the throes of CONCACAF Champions League and things were still getting figured out. This was a comfortable win back then. Denke scored a penalty and Kubo scored late in this one. They had one shot inside of our box in that game. So if this were up to me, absolutely, I'm rotating the hell out of this thing. This is a Brian Anunga game. This is Santos and Dado starting up top. It's Yedlin as the wingback. It's Brad Smith starting at left wing back. Maybe I'm getting Buka a night off and Obi's playing for a while and this one, or Kubo is back out there. I don't know exactly, but I'd be rotating the heck out of this thing, except this is Pat Noonan, and Noonan basically hates to rotate. Yeah. I think the only time we've ever seen them do that was the game after clenching the supporter shield And it might have scarred him for life losing that game before celebrating the trophy. And he's never rotated since then.
I think you'll see some rotation, but I wouldn't rotate the top. I think there's a couple guys on the back line. You've mentioned Engel. Probably take a breather. I mean, he works a lot in his position. So maybe it's a Brad Smith game. Maybe it's a Gilberto Flores game.
Yeah.
It could also be DeAndre Yedlin on the back line.
Yeah, it could also be DeAndre Yedlin. I don't take Orellano away from the wing personally. Like I think we finally put him there. Let's let him have some consistent games there.
If he's playing, he should be at wingback.
You can start him on the wing with Yedlin behind him at right back, and then late in the match, if you go up, you can rotate Orellano out early. Yedlin can step up to fill that wingback role, and then you can put a center back on the field. Then at that point, so they've got some options. But I agree with Grayson. Like I think that the experiment with Luka as a second attacker, like attacking mid hybrid, I think that's dead and dusted. I think he's a winger going forward, and you may as well get used to the old spot with some more minutes.
Because he needs ball go in net.
Yes.
Yeah, well, yes.
So he just stops forcing it for no other reason.
Yeah.
Dado starting up top. I want to see it.
Is. I think Dado up top. Do you bench Kevin Denke?
I don't.
Well, I'm sorry. Do you rest Kevin Denke selectively here? Sorry, it's not a benching.
I still don't.
I would, but if we're not going to do that, if we have a lead at halftime, I am pulling him. And he doesn't have a yellow card. If he has a yellow card, he's playing to the 120th minute. I'm getting every ounce of Denke time I can.
If you get a yellow accumulation suspension and you get a red, do you get 2 games or 1 game?
I think you get 2.
Yeah, I think you get 2.
There would be no reason not to get the second yellow and just absolutely obliterate someone. I'm suspended anyway.
I like the way you think. Yeah. I'm taking one of you with me.
I'm taking one of you assholes with me. Dado. Like I do want to see Dado and Denke, but the thing is like I want to see Denke up top, but I don't want to see him like in a nonsense way up top where it's like, congratulations, you played up top in a game where Brad Smith and DeAndre Yedlin were the wingbacks, and he didn't perform, so that's the end of that right there. It's like, no. I want to see this fully armed and operational.
Yeah, I think it would be a huge disservice to do that. If we are rotating heavily elsewhere, sure, like pull Denke out of there and see what Santos and Dado can do up top. We saw, I keep going back to this because I feel like I'm being gaslit into thinking this didn't happen. For like 7 games in a row, Dado and Kevin Kelsey started up top last year, and we won like every game. Okay, so like he has certainly started and won games for this team recently up top alongside not an all-star striker.
He was playing.
I'm not saying he won them, but he certainly didn't lose the games.
That's fair.
So
that's fair.
I wouldn't mind seeing it, even if it is a Sergio Santos or Corey Baird or Yuya Kubo, whatever the combination is up top. I think he's earned the start at a minimum. And let's say you, Pat Noonan, are not convinced that Dado can start. Great. You let him start on Wednesday, and then he's on the bench versus Columbus, and then you can feel like you did the thing.
Here's the argument why I think that rotation is the wrong idea. I know, Kevin, you said you're the manager, you would have rotated. I'm not going to rotate in this game without patenting it. And the reason why is that you are going to have to go play in Columbus. That's going to be a fantastically tough spot to win.
Yeah.
Like I'm going into this Hell is Real game thinking that getting a point on the road versus one of the 2 or 3 best teams in MLS this year. Like if we're all in agreement that so far Vancouver has been the best team in MLS, I think you'd be hard pressed to say anyone else other than Columbus is number 2 in terms of consistency, style of play, what they've been able to do. So I think that you want to do everything you can to win this Toronto game, and you're not putting yourself in a position where if you rotate heavily, you don't win this game for whatever reason because you put all your reserves out there. Now you're going into Columbus staring a 2-game losing streak right in a row. I think you go get your points, get your win, overpower a team you should overpower on the road on talent alone, and then whatever happens in Columbus happens. I'm of the mind you just rotate in Columbus, and then it's like, you know what? We didn't even try. Your win doesn't even matter.
So the big brain take is that you want Denke to get the yellow card
Built-in
against
excuse,
Toronto.
baby.
Yes.
I do think there's an argument for rotation against better teams because all points are the same. So if you have like an expected point you can assign to every game, if you play your best lineup against worse teams, you have like you're starting from a higher expected point, right?
Yeah.
And then you rotate against better teams where you have a lower probability of winning anyway.
And who knows? Maybe you get a draw somewhere with a rotated team. Yeah.
Because you can play
really
cynical with a rotated team.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. This is a great way to devalue the supporter shield. It just feels against the spirit of the supporter shield.
Like we're all into analytics now. Like we're a 3-point shooting team. We're ruining basketball.
Right. This is great. We're on we're managing our load with all of this.
It's a good time.
Wait, how does that devalue the supporter shield?
I was just saying, you want the supporter shield to be like whoever wins the supporter shield to have beaten all of the other good teams. But I guess it's like the Premier League winner tends to have like a losing record against the other top 5, top 6 teams. So
yeah, it's about getting the most points. That's all it is.
Yeah,
that's all it is. Okay.
It's a math problem, man. It's math. It's everywhere. Good time to mention that whether or not we rotate or have a full starting lineup next weekend, we will have a live show at Streetside. Kevin, you want to plug that real quick?
I do. Starting at 5:30, Streetside, be there or be square. We are going to be previewing and building up the hype going into Hell is Real. The game is obviously in Columbus, so if you're not going to Columbus, come to Streetside. We will get you excited for the game. Hang out even with a whole bunch of FC Cincinnati fans before the game, and then they will have the game on at 7:00. So we'll get you built up to that. Also, we got some fun prizes to give away. I'm sure I'll come up with a game or two to play with that. So it's a good time. Come on out, hang out. You get to see a live show. We will probably record it. Peek behind the curtain. Haven't quite figured out what the sort of content schedule is for the remainder of this week. It's always tricky with Wednesday games, so it may not be recorded. So if you want to make sure you've got your completionist 100% complete achievement,
if you want to listen to the postcast to completion,
yes, you need to be at this show. Otherwise, who knows? So there you go. If that isn't a compelling argument to come there, you can also just wear earplugs and drink some delicious beers at Streetside and have a nice burger. So good times at Streetside, and we will also happen to be there. With that, we need to predict this game, though, Chief. Toronto, what do you got for me? Ooh, give me a prediction, and do they rotate heavily?
Rotate, no. Prediction 2-1 FC.
I like it. A Bernadeschi penalty.
Yeah,
we get that MLS clean sheet.
Stupid. Yeah.
Grayson, what do you got for us? And do they heavily rotate?
They do not heavily rotate. Although I wouldn't be surprised if there's like 1 or 2 like unusual starters, especially given that there's just like kind of some variance built into the in the team at this point.
Yeah, don't ask me to define heavily rotated. It's just a gut thing.
Right. It's like it's a feel. Like, does it feel rotated?
What are the vibes? Is it a vibe of a rotational vibe going on?
It's like whenever they talk about like, oh yeah, that was a the U.S. won that game, but it was against like a German D team.
Yeah, right.
It'll be because they had like 8 of their usual players and versus like 11 of their usual players.
Right.
I 3-1 to the FC. I'm not going clean sheet on this one.
Yeah,
I'll go an MLS clean sheet, but I think I want that 2-goal cushion.
It'd be nice to get one of those. I am going to say heavily rotate, but a 1-0 victory. So everybody can be happy and sad at the same time. So there you go. Well, we will probably talk about it on Wednesday night when you hear that. To be determined, but exciting week ahead.
Good stuff. Never too much FC, especially like on road games. Road Wednesday games are nice
fine.
Break to the week right there. Low obligation thing to look forward to. You don't have to go anywhere. You can just flip it on in the comfort of your own home. And it does offer a very nice distraction from the existential dread, which is Hell is Real. Like, I think that there should always be a midweek game ahead of Hell is Real so that we don't have to spend the entire week thinking about it.
Yeah. There usually is a midweek game, actually, before Hell is Real. It's very annoying.
No, I love it because I don't want to spend more than a minute thinking about Columbus before I have to.
At least it's not like an 8 p.m. Sunday night game.
Oh, my God. They always do that crap.
Right. So I don't want to think about it till it's time because fuck Columbus.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Cincy Postcast. It is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out at thepostcincy.com or just click a link in the description to check out some of our written work. It also has links to our social media accounts across all sorts of different platforms, including YouTube, where we are trying to do more and more video content. Please, dare I say it, like and subscribe and leave a comment. But no, that would be really, really helpful. I also want to give a thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers. They're a local Cincinnati band who provided all of the music for this episode. We love having them on board. You can check them out. Again, link in the description of this episode to find out where they might be playing shows next or where you can listen to more of their music. Also want to give a massive, massive thank you to the awesome and very attractive patrons over on Patreon. It is a voluntary subscription that people take out with no real promise of anything extra that keep this show afloat. And we are so, so thankful to those of you that have decided to take that commitment. If you do like the show, or at least just want to engage with other people who have listened to the show and want to talk about FC Cincinnati, MLS, soccer, or really anything else, you can go on over to Discord. Again, link in the description. Lots of links in the description where you can find a link to the Discord. That's where we are keeping the conversation going 24/7. It feels like it's a really fun group of people in there just talking about FC Cincinnati. And like I said, just about everything else. And finally, I'll say it. If you liked this episode, and given the fact that you've made it all the way to the end, I have to assume you either like it or for some reason cannot reach the stop button. Please share this episode with a friend or family member or someone who likes FC Cincinnati. The best way for us to grow is from a personal recommendation from somebody who likes it. And if that's you, please tell other people. And if you don't have any friends, feel free to give us a review on whatever your podcast platform of choice is. We'll take anything we can get. But again, a huge, huge thank you to everybody for listening to this show. I am blown away that anybody listens to this. So again, I well and truly mean this. Thank you so much for listening.